He also had, because he had all this attention from us and friends, and look, this is him at a restaurant. I mean, that was set up, but it's fun.
He didn't live like
No, that was just a fun thing. But you see, here's someone, you know, even with children, very comfortable, very safe. People always say that you've got to be very careful with children. He was trusting, and this is his first night in Africa, you know, thinking about. But no, he was a very smart lion. He had all this attention, and of course then he went to George Adamson, the absolute guru who knew more about lions than anyone in the world.
The man on whom Born Free.
Born Free was based,
So
and he said he's the one. He said he's a very, very smart lion.
And a man with great experience.
Yes.
And he had a very even temperament and was very cooperative.
Is that George there?
Now that's Christian. The last time we saw him, when he was completely, he had mated successfully, had litter, and this is him fully grown, maybe 500, 600 pounds, which is huge for a lion. But look at the size of him, and there he is, still totally trusting with George.
And George fell in love with him as well. George was a sort of lion whisperer, really, wasn't he? He was just totally magical.
But when you went back 12 months later to visit Christian, George had said, look, don't expect too much here, and we haven't seen him for months. How is it that he appeared only the day before? Back in, this reserves hundreds of
450 square miles.
Yes, so he just appeared. Do we take into that he just appeared after not having been seen for months the day before you arrived? Are we talking any sort of telepathy here, or am I stretching it?
Well, people,
who knows?
Yes, who knows?
Well,
People
that
talk
happened
about
the next visit as well. He appeared again. And he hadn't been seen for a while.
Because one of the big dangers, trying to socialise him with his own wild, other wild lions, don't like people encroaching, that's when they can be killed.
Yes. Well, this is one of the things, when we had the opportunity, this is, look at that, isn't it fabulous with Ace? When we had the opportunity to take him to George Adamson, I mean, George said to us, look, you know, you guys are taking a chance, because he's fifth generation domesticated. It's not like Elsa, who was born in Africa and knew the smells of Africa. Here was Christian, whose mother had come from Rotterdam and the father from Jerusalem, born in Ilfracombe. So we've got a Dutch Jewish lion, born in England, raised by Aussies, going back to Kenya. So we've got quite a little cocktail here. And anyhow, he, you know, we got him out there. George took a look at him, and obviously we were rather woolly as well at that stage. Christian had come from winter. He had that very heavy coat, and it took a day or so before George could, he said, look, no, he's going to be all right. He's fine. He's going to be fine.
When you had this visit with him, you saw him again after that, when?
Yes. The last time was in 74, by which point...
That was you, I didn't go there.
Right, but we had another one, but then I went back, and that was the last time he was ever seen, and that was it, he was in the wild then.
And did he recognise you?
Oh yes, oh still.
Same.
But he never was seen again. There was never any story of a terrible trophy or anything like that. He just went, and it was a complete success.
Because as you can imagine, people are making up things. So you believe he was never seen again. He went off into this massive reserve with his pride and lived happily.
Yes.
We don't know how long he lived for.
No.
Why did you name him Christian?
Ace did.
But his 30 years, I said to John the other day, how did he get such a cool name? He said, you named him Christian.
The amazing ability, and I know in the last several years you must have spoken to people with great experience, not only George, other people with lions. Lions aren't supposed to behave like that. Why do you think Christian did?
I'm not sure they don't behave like that. I think they're wonderful. You see, they're a pride animal. The cruelest thing you can do to a lion is to have it by itself. Because it's lonely. If you see them in Africa, they're always lying in piles with all different generations all on top of each other. They're very tactile. And so if you take a lion by itself, as we had, well, we became his pride.
Absolutely. And tigers and leopards are much more solitary, so that would be much more difficult. But we were just his family.
When he got to Africa, I'm sure it was a bit of a cultural shock. He was introduced to another lion called Boy, who had also had been brought in and rescued.
Boy has a very interesting history, because he and his sister Girl were given to George Adamson.
Now there They're interesting names. Boy and girl. Somebody was right on the mark there.
Yes, spot on.